Hey guys, so I realized that I never made like a how to get started working with pottery and some tips and my recommendations. So I'm going to go over that. I'm going to sort of break this up into like two parts. So the first part is like my just general advice, and actually I kind of suggest that you do both of these if you're really interested in ceramics. So the first thing you want to do, you want to sign up for a class if you've never worked with pottery before. And the reason why is because there's so much information in working with clay alone, just hand building before you even get to the wheel. There's a lot. So like it's better for you to like just go to a class so you can know this information first. I would suggest going to a community college class because usually the teacher has like a terminal degree in art, and so they are very knowledgeable, and also the facilities are normally going to be top notch and there's going to be lots of space. Your other choice would be to find a legit community class with like legit reviews and take a class there. I would suggest maybe taking a 1 day class and then later on signing up for like a session or 16 session class. And anytime you're doing these community classes, you also want to check like the refund policy, whether or not you have to buy any materials before you go. What if you miss a class? Can you make it up? All these like other things. So check that out. Okay, let's say you've already taken a class and you're like, I want to dive right in. These are some things that you're going to need if you're going to start working from home. Okay, so first of all, if you don't have access to a kiln and you want to just work with clay, but you're not ready to start firing your clay or glazing your clay yet, you can begin working with air dry clay or like the oven Fimo clay. I don't know if it's still called that. Whatever you can actually bake in your regular oven, you can do that, or just the air dry clay or like Play-Doh or something like that. And this will help you to begin to get used to sculpting and working with your hands. Okay, so next, if you are planning on firing and glazing your clay, then first you want to find out where you're going to be firing your clay. You can purchase a kiln, which kilns are very expensive and there's a lot with that. But if you are not going to be purchasing a kiln, there are places that actually offer firing services that are local in your area, which would be like a community kiln, which is like at somebody's house. You sign up. When I was in Austin, there was a lady. She had like, it was completely online. Like you tell her what you're going to fire, the size of it, like the type of clay, what needs to be fired to, like the cone, temperature, etc., and she'll like fire it for you. And if like you fuck up and didn't build it right and it explodes in your kiln and stuff like that, and she has to buy a new shelf, she would charge you for that. So but there's all these contingencies and everything that you're signing up for. So usually most places where they have firing services are very specific about what they will fire and the turnaround times for firing. But just like be aware that usually when you're firing in a community kiln, you're firing with other people. So if you're firing with somebody, and this probably is rare, but if you've ever taken a ceramics class, you know this, that usually in a beginner class, somebody did not build something right. There's an air bubble and it'll explode in the kiln. Or, and this has even happened to me, where you're firing something and either the kiln overfires and like you have glaze that your shit gets stuck on the shelf. So, if you're going to be firing, you can find a local firing service, or sometimes a ceramic supply or a place that offers classes also offers firing services where you can get your stuff fired. So depending on what you're going to be firing and what they're allowing you to fire, let's say they fire things at cone 6, you want to make sure that you're getting clay that is fireable at cone 6. You don't want to get low fire clay. Same thing with if they're only firing low fire clay, then you need to make sure you only purchase low fire clay. So the clay that you're going to be getting is going to be determining what you're going to be firing your clay at. And that goes for glaze too. So there's low fire glaze and high fire glaze, same thing. So whatever you're able to fire your piece at is going to determine the clay you're going to get, and also going to determine the glaze you're going to get. All right, so boom, let's say I'm going to get this sort of clay. These are the things that you're going to need. When you find your ceramic store, usually a ceramic supply store is going to have different things than a general art store. So art stores may have some ceramic stuff, but it's not going to be like a ceramic supply. And not to say you can't order things from online, but usually a lot of ceramic stuff is really heavy or it's bulky or something like that, especially if you're ordering clay or like pottery plaster. So things like that you want to go get in person, because when you get clay, normally you're getting that like 25-pound bags, or like when I got my pottery plaster, it's a 10-pound bag. So you want to go find your ceramic supply that's located in your area, the nearest one to your area. All right, so after you get your clay, there's some things that I would recommend. So first, I would recommend getting a legit wire cutter, clay cutter. This is from Mud Tools. And you can get cheaper ones, but they could break on you. So when you're cutting your clay, you want to have something like this that's legit. The next thing you want to make sure you're getting are having like lots of plastic bowls. You can use an old bowl. You want to get a rolling pin, And you want to get lots of sponges, and also there's a million pottery tools. Anything can be a pottery tool as long as you're not going to cross-contaminate. There's metal pottery tools, there's plastic pottery tools, there's wood pottery tools. I would suggest getting a variety pack so you can try them all out to see what you like the best. Then I would suggest getting some heavy duty blue shop tools. I get packs of these from Costco. You can also get these from Home Depot because pottery is very wet, it's very messy, and you want to be able to clean things up in one swoop. Next, I would suggest getting a wedge board or pottery cloth, and whatever surface you're working on. Pottery is very sticky, so it's going to stick on a regular surface. So you're basically going to want to put your wedging board or pottery cloth down and then put your clay on top of that. And that's what you're going to be working with when you're rolling your pin or when you're beginning to wedge your clay. Next, you don't need this, but I would suggest you get one of these banding wheels and get a metal one so it's easy to clean. And this helps you so you're able to work on things and spin it around. Also, you want to make sure that you're getting these like thickness sticks. They come in different pairs. Like this is 10 millimeters, this is 12 millimeters, and this helps it so that you're able to roll out your clay and it's the same thickness throughout. And you're not over rolling your clay so it's too thin. Lastly, if there's anything sort of extra, I would suggest maybe getting some little molds for bowls or plates if you want to sort of practice using those. It'll give you a really even shape pretty easily. And also there are some almost like cookie cutters, but they're for clay. There's lots of different shapes with these. When you're working with your piece, after you're finished with it, you're going to want to put it on a shelf or put it somewhere safe to dry out before you fire it. And I would also suggest using some old plastic bags or plastic to cover it so that it doesn't dry out too quick. And yeah, I think that's it. That'll get you started. So this is like very beginner working with pottery supplies at home, like very much step one. I'll go more advanced with stuff you need later, but this will get you started. Okay, bye.